Hi, today we're going to talk about labels. I know I bark on about labels quite a lot on this channel, but I do that because I think it's important. Labels are important to me, and I know that they're important to other people as well. But obviously, if you think I talk about this too much, then do let me know in the comments below and I will tone it down. The reason I'm talking about labels today is because I have seen a lot of gatekeeping within the ace community recently. I'm not going to point at someone in particular. I'm not going to point at a place in particular because I don't want a witch hunt. That is not the reason why I'm making this video. The reason why I'm making this video is because I want to give my opinion on labels and what they are and why they exist and why you shouldn't tell someone that they're not what they say they are. In my opinion, making someone feel invalidated about their identity, which probably took a lot of self-reflection to get to, is abhorrent behaviour. So I'm just going to talk briefly about why I think labels are important. I tend to split this into two categories, let's say. I like splitting things into categories if you haven't realised. So first and foremost, they are comforting for people. I know when I found out about the word asexual, it made me feel a lot more comfortable about my identity, and it made a lot of things in my life make sense. A lot of people say when they find out about asexuality in the ace community, they feel less broken. That's a sentiment that I share, and it's something that is very common within the ace community, which just goes to show the need for visibility. Of course, not everyone needs labels, not everyone wants labels. They prefer to just be them, and that's totally fine as well. I wouldn't recommend you use a label unless you want to. It seems kind of pointless. At the end of the day, they're for you. If you don't want it, don't take it. It's like hats. If you don't want to wear a hat, don't wear a hat. Like, no one's gonna care if you don't wear a hat. No one's gonna care if you don't use labels. The second reason why I think labels are important are for communication. Labels are a good way of succinctly conveying a complicated subject. And boy, orientations are very complicated. I could say to someone, well, I like dating guys because I think they look good, but I don't really want to have sex with them like most people who like dating people. But I do like to do some things that some people might consider to be sexual. But it's only those things and not the more intense things which I don't like. I could say that to someone. Or I could just say that I'm homoromantic asexual. Or in most situations, I'll just say that I'm gay. What I'm getting at here is that I can condense a lot of information and what I want to convey in a very short phrase. The analogy I like to use is this. Say you saw this animal. What would you say that is? What would you call the animal? You're probably thinking tiger, because it's a tiger. But imagine the word tiger didn't exist. What would you call it then? Maybe a cat. If you like adjectives, maybe a big cat. Maybe a big striped cat. Is that technically accurate? No. It's not a big, well, it's not a big cat, it's a tiger. You might even argue that tiger isn't accurate enough. This one in particular is a Siberian tiger, or a Panthera tigris. But my point is, use the word which you have, which is most accurate. It may not be completely right, but that doesn't mean it's not useful. And that's the same thing with orientations. You can't have an orientation for every single person in the world because that would defeat the point. They are generalizations, and they do group people into categories. Not everyone who is asexual will be the same. That would be ridiculous. But it is useful because we share a lot in common, and there are sub-communities within the ace community. People identify as demi or grey, arrow aces, and aloe aces or like romantic aces. Why do I personally call myself asexual? Because I would be fine living the rest of my life without sex, and I don't really want it or seek it out. My point is that the ace spectrum is confusing, and we don't always have the exact words that we want to use to describe our feelings. You can't point at a single set of definitions and say every asexual follows these definitions to the T, because that won't be true. There's going to be people on the boundaries who don't fit all these definitions, but they still want to call themselves asexual, and that's fine. The crux of the matter is that labels are for you, and you alone. If you want to identify as ace, if that makes you feel comfortable, if it makes you feel like part of the community, there is no harm in doing that. The thing is that you know your feelings best. No one else can feel what you do, and can fully comprehend what you're feeling. You can explain to someone, you can express your emotions with words and with outward emotion, I suppose, but there's a nuance to it which people won't understand. People won't necessarily understand what you're feeling to the fullest. So that also means that, in my opinion, no one can tell you whether you're ace or not. Please, if you get anything from this video, don't let people tell you what you are and what you are not, because at the end of the day, you know yourself best. I know I say that quite a lot, and I've said that quite a lot in this video, but it's true. There is a massive supporting community of aces. If you ever feel lonely or broken, you can use that community to support you, to make you feel better. And that's something beautiful that a label can do. And I may not know you, but I know that you're a fantastic person. It takes a lot of self-reflection and bravery to learn yourself and come to terms with an orientation. If the moment you do that, someone says to your face, no, you're not this thing, that can be disheartening. And that's why this has got me a bit riled up. So I'm not asking you to antagonize anyone who is being like this. I'm asking you to be welcoming to your fellow aces. And if someone tells you that they identify a certain way, you believe them and you accept them and you support them, because that's what matters. If you have any comments about this matter, feel free to put them down in the comments below. Also, if you missed my video a couple of weeks ago, I am now doing videos on a fortnightly basis. That means once every 2 weeks. I'm sorry that I can't do it more frequently, but I felt like the content I was putting out wasn't high enough quality. It wasn't as high quality that I would like. So I'm deciding to spend more time on each video and get it to a higher standard. Part of that is putting in subtitles. So hopefully in this video there'll be subtitles which you can put on, and it'll be every video going forward, hopefully. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. I post videos every other Saturday, so if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. That is all I had to say today. Have a wonderful day, and I shall see you next time. Yep. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. I post videos every other Saturday, so if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. Changing my thing really messes up my rhythm.